Welcome to the Fight Game. He's Icewater, I'm Puma. This is a special edition of the Fight Game, and we had to get on and talk about the Spence and Crawford fight. But before we talk about that, we're going to talk about a couple of fights that happened in the last week. I want to go to the Monster and Stephen Fulton. Got to see that fight, and we were just talking offline, and I know you agree with me on this. I like the Monster. I really like him. I think he is pound for pound one of the best fighters in the top five. I will give to him. I saw some weaknesses in his game. He's going to need somebody to kind of really stand in with him and pop him one good time to see what he does and how he responds to that, because he's just coming forward and attacking people. And I just can't see him doing that to everybody in boxing and continuing to be successful with that method.
I mean, I see that and I recognize that, but I mean, I think we got to give him a little bit more credit. And I'm gonna say that definitely, because of the factor that when the guy came up from 118, 116, and he's up at 122 right now. And I'll say this, particularly his situation, it's a different than like with Mike Tyson, right? Because Mike Tyson, I just think people feared him oftentimes. He was a great fighter, but they feared him, and they had lost before they got in the ring, many of them, right? This guy, and I like Cool Boy Steph, Stephen Fulton. It's just there's not a lot of people at that weight where he's at right now that can give him problems.
Right.
And the reason why I say that is because nobody has really shown, except for, and I'm not going to take away from Nonito Donaire, who did really fight him and gave him all he could give him, probably one of the best fights. He was just happened to be older. But it's going to take an effort like that where somebody can hit him in the mouth and push him backwards. But I'm not sure if these other folks can do that. Anybody else in that? I think he's meeting up with another guy that's trying to unify the belts at 122. I don't see anybody else with the power or the know-how to bang with him like that. And you're going to have to bang with him. You're going to have to make him respect you. And Stephen Fulton tried to do everything he could, but he really seemed to be pushed into showing us that he truly was a counterpuncher compared to what the monster did and the way was calculated about it. So I guess my point in all that is to say that I just don't know if there's anybody at 122, at 126 that can give him a real fight. I have a great fight. I love to see him at 130. That might be a bit too much because he already came up to 122.
Right.
So I'm asking him to come up 8 more pounds to 130. But if he does, I got 2 fights I would love for him to have. I'll defer to you right now.
What are those 2 fights, man? You got me chomping at the bits. You can't do that to me. You know how I am about that. Come on, man, bring it, bro, bring it.
So I mean, this is a long shot, and it probably won't happen because you don't know where this guy is all over the place. Somebody like Gary Russell Jr.
Okay.
At 130, but I don't. Gary Russell hasn't fought in a long time, and he still could be hurt. That's just kind of a wish dream if I was just throwing something out. But the fight that I think is legitimate, if he wants to come to 130, the monster comes to 130, I think it'll be perfect for him. And this guy has pop, not afraid, and I think it'll be a hell of a match. But it has to happen soon. That's Leo Santa Cruz. Yeah. Leo Santa Cruz, yes.
Yeah.
I mean, Leo Santa Cruz went up and tried to take on Tank Davis. And he gave him a little pop, and Tank took him down. At 130, to fight Leo Santa Cruz had the pop. He showed you that against Tank Davis.
Yeah.
And he's in this 130 is a great place for him at 130. And if the monster can come up, that'd be one hell of a fight.
Yeah, because a lot of people said that he was winning that fight against Tank Davis before Tank Davis took him down at that particular point. Yeah. On points.
He was.
Yeah. Yeah, so he was handling himself, but he slipped up and let that uppercut get through, and it was good night.
Wait, I mean, come on, though, come on. Hell, yeah. How many people? There's no shame in getting knocked out by Tank Davis, right? There's no shame in that.
Yeah, I we talked about this offline. I agree with everything you say about the monster. It just, I don't know if he's going to go up in weight. I don't think there's anybody that can fight him at 122, 126 at this particular point that has that power. So he'll probably be the king of 122, 126 until he moves up to 130. And if Cruz is still there at 130, we'll see. There was another fight that really got to me over the weekend, Kambosos versus Hughes. And I know you were, I think, at a concert at that particular time, and I text you, and you said, "Did Kambosos win?" I said, "Yeah, he won the fight, but Hughes dominated him. Hughes should have won that fight." And again, here we go again, where we look at the judges and try to figure out maybe they're on different sides of the ring, and this is why they have these scores that look kind of, weird. But there's no excuse. Hughes definitely won that fight. He did what he needed to do. He was perfectly made to beat Kambosos. His style, no wonder he wanted that fight. He wanted that fight because he knew he had the what we say, the remedy. He had the skills. He had Kambosos dead to rights, and Kambosos could do nothing with him in that fight. How Kambosos got that decision, I don't know. Maybe there's some money behind this because he was a champion at one particular time. They're trying to move him into a big money fight. Your thoughts on this fight now?
Yeah, I did get a chance. I went back and did get a chance to watch it. Well, ironically, this is how cool this was. As I'm watching, got up early up in the morning, got a little early before doing some work to watch Monster and Stephen Fulton. Right after that, they showed the replay of Hughes and Kambosos Jr. And I was like, "Oh, cool! This is you can't beat this." I was like, "Man, this." I said, "I don't need to cut this off. I have more work to do." Anyway, but you're right. I think Hughes had an idea. You said the game plan to beat Kambosos, and I think honestly that a lot of people have had the wherewithal or the game plan to beat Kambosos. You look at Devin Haney; he knew what he was doing with that standpoint. I just think you knew how to take him down. And what I'm saying is, I don't know. I mean, I'm not sure if Kambosos has the oomph. Maybe he had a bad night. I'm not sure if he still has it because he seems very predictable right now, right?
Yes, very.
Seems very, very predictable. So how can you move back up into the upper echelon of fighters if everybody knows what you're doing, or you're really, if you get a guys like Maxie Hughes, probably was really gave a performance above his head, but he was very calculated. He did what he needed to do. He could stay out of wave and pop him right at the one moment. I mean, he wasn't trying to knock anybody out, but he was more calculated and more busy, and he landed more shots. And I think he won enough rounds early. So for them to come up with the scores that they had did in favor of Kambosos was crazy. I think Kambosos is in trouble. I really do. And like I said, he could have had a bad fight, but I'm not sure unless people move up and get out the way. I'm not sure if he's going to be able to get back to the upper echelon level because of what I saw. And from that standpoint, I'm sitting there going like, I mean, he's a fighter, I'm not, but it just didn't look good. He did not look good. And clearly, when you see, I think even whatever the network it was on, they even had to fight where Mac Hughes had clearly won the fight. I think it was like they had Hughes 117, 111.
Yeah. I mean, it was that dominant.
Yeah.
And I was looking at Kambosos. It's almost like I guess he has a new trainer, has new people in his corner. He was trying to fight the game plan, and he was getting popped so much, he went right back to his old ways, and that didn't work either. And so I think you're absolutely right. I don't know what else he has left. I don't know if Devin Haney just took the fighter out of him because to beat a man twice in your hometown, and somebody mentioned that maybe he's really kind of not come back from those two losses from Devin Haney. So I just thought it was a travesty. We see this in boxing a lot, and we've been seeing it a lot lately. Maybe the money's not right. Maybe Hughes doesn't have the name that people can sell a fight for, and Kambosos does. So maybe that's it, but it shouldn't be that way. It really shouldn't be that way.
No, I agree with you 100%. And I'm not sure. This is just me, and I'm just speculating. What opinions are. So anyway, if you assume you have an opinion, you know what that is. But this is my opinion. I'm not sure if the two fights from Haney are the reasons why Kambosos is not really stepping up. I think Haney saw something, and they both times because you normally when you win a fight and you beat the champion with all the belts. When you win, even if you're very confident, You just don't automatically jump right back into a rematch and just he did that so quickly. It's like, I'll fight you in your living room. That's how confident he was. I'm talking about Haney, that is. So it was just too quick for me. And I think he knew what it was. He knew the game plan. He knew that there's no way that Kambosos could really touch him. And maybe this is what Hughes saw as well, right? Maybe he saw the same thing and thought, hey, if he can do it, I can do the same thing. Because you could just see where at times where Kambosos was struggling to even get close, right? And I think that's more of a misnomer now, where you can push him in a position where he just runs around like a rabbit. And even though he has a new trainer, like you said, he went back to what he was doing, and Kambosos can fight. You know, he's shown that by his one victory.
One thing I saw that was clear, that he didn't know how to fight the southpaw style. I mean, he just did not know how to handle that southpaw style, and that left from Hughes was just getting in. It seemed like anytime he wanted to, uppercut, or I mean, he was just waiting for it. It's almost like Kambosos, if he was smarter, would have set him up for it. But it wasn't a setup. He just didn't know how to fight the southpaw style. Let's get to the fight that I know everybody's here to listen to and see what we say about it, especially people who are waiting for your prediction, because you've been dead on in some of your predictions of these big fights. But this is the fight that we've been waiting for a long time. You got Errol Spence Jr. against Terrence Crawford. And I have noticed that the talking has kind of ceased a little bit. It is fight week, but I haven't heard Terrence talk a lot of trash. He's talking more about more respect, and that, hey, if I could win a boring fight, that's okay with me, kind of thing, instead of, hey, I'm going to knock him out. I still believe that Errol Spence is going to stalk this young man, and that he's going to make him quit in that ring and try to punish him as much as possible. I kind of liken this fight to a lot of people are kind of likening it to Hagler Hearns. These are the big guys in this division, and one has to go. Your thoughts on this fight, man?
Man, you know how long I've been waiting on this fight. I have been waiting a long time. I think it's one of the best matchups that we've had in a long time. I mean, a lot of people were pointing towards Pacquiao Mayweather. Mm-hmm. I thought that would be a good fight, but I just thought Floyd knew what he could do with Pacquiao. I just think a lot of people thought Pacquiao was going to really give him problems. I never thought that. And maybe I gave Floyd too much credit, but I just thought he would handle Pacquiao the way that he did, because the way he was able to move. But this fight here, you got two guys that really are going after it, two guys that won't quit, two warriors, literally. And they both can stand on the merit of on the laurels as to, I can fight, I can knock you out. I beat a lot of good guys, and they got great credentials. I mean, you think 39-0, you think 29-0, what have you, but they're champions. And this is the fight we want to see, mano a mano, to get it on. I will say this. I know the betting public right now is saying that they have Terrence Crawford as the favorite. And I can understand that. Terrence Crawford has come up with in various divisions, and everybody pretty much that he's faced in the welterweight division, he's knocked out. So he has that nice little streak, which is great. So how can you deny him? But on the other hand, you see Errol Spence Jr., who's been in a car wreck. He has his eyes been messed up. He had eye surgery. He's been through hell in a handbasket, but yet he comes and he takes no tune-ups. One thing about Errol Spence, he doesn't take tune-ups. He went right back in, jumped in the ring. He fought Danny Garcia. Then he jumped right back in after the other setback, after he missed the Pacquiao fight. And he fought Ugas. Ugas is a tough customer. Tough dude, tough guy. So anyway, let's break this down real quick before my internet go out. So here's the deal. I think it's going to be a test of wills. And I know you say, well, everybody says that. I'm going to break this down for you. It's going to be a test of wills. Terrence Crawford, I believe, has amazing skills. He is a boxer. If he gets you hurt, he moves around a lot. You can't adjust. He can knock you out. Errol Spence has been hurt lately. He got hurt by Ugas. Ugas did hurt him, care what people say. When he went to get back against the ropes and came off, he was hurt. He was in trouble. People think Terrence Crawford can take advantage of this. I'm going to say this. Terrence Crawford is going to have to find a way to keep Errol Spence off of him, because eventually it's going to happen. He's going to be tested. And what I mean by that is going to be tested, and he's going to have to find out, can he take the punch of Errol Spence Jr.? Errol Spence Jr. is going to hit to the body. He's going to hit you in the head, and he's going to try to get that eye. Here's my thing. The biggest thing for me is, I don't say Terrence Crawford can't win this fight, but what I want to see is, I don't think he's ever been challenged or hit by the punches and the strength and the force that Errol Spence Jr. brings. And if he's able to do that, Spence Jr. that is, I think it's going to put Terrence Crawford in a very vicarious situation that he's never been in before, where he's in trouble. And then at that point, I think we go to the corners. And I think that's going to be the difference in the fight. I have no problem with Terrence Crawford's folks, his trainer Bo Mack and whatnot, but I'm a little skeptical. If Terrence Crawford gets in trouble, what he normally does is he puts on his cape and he uses his anger and his energy to go right after the guy, and he usually wins that way. Not sure if you can do that against Errol Spence Jr. because he's not going anywhere. He showed you, talk about the fight versus Sean Porter. Sean Porter thought he had him, and Spence Jr. came back and pop, 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 11th round, dropped him. So the thing is, as we see it, what happens if Terrence Crawford gets in trouble? Is Bo Mack a good enough trainer to save him? I'm not sure.
That's deep. Here's my thing. Terrence Crawford, you're not fighting in Nebraska. You don't have the home crowd. You don't have the home crowd. And I watched Errol Spence Jr. since I believe his first or second fight. And the will this guy has, and how he wills himself, and how he stalks his opponent, how he breaks down fighters. Just like you mentioned Sean Porter earlier, how he just breaks down fighters, and no matter whether it's the 7th round or the 11th round, some way, somehow, he's going to get you, break you down, and maybe put you out. I don't think Terrence Crawford has been in a fight like this with a guy this strong, with a guy who's not going to go anywhere, with a guy that, you could probably maybe get a good look on him, hit him a good time, but he's coming back. He's coming back. I've seen him in too many situations where you think the guy has Errol Spence, and Errol Spence just turns it up another notch. And he wants those straps. Terrence Crawford has been mouthing off for a long time about how he, wanted this fight, all this stuff. Now you got this guy. And when you're at a press conference and Errol Spence said, you know what, I want to punish him. I want to punish you. I want to make you quit. I would even, if I'm fighting him, I'm even like, oh, damn, this dude, this dude don't want to just win a boxing match. This dude want to break my will down. This dude want to make me quit. This dude wants to take everything I have and say, you know what, that ain't going to be enough, and plow through you. So I'm going to be the first one to make this prediction. It's not because I like Errol Spence. I always felt that Terrence Crawford never really fought the caliber of fighters that Errol Spence has fought. And they try to give him pound for pound. I believe it's going to take 10 rounds to just stalk him to the point where Terrence Crawford says, you know what, bro, you got it. You got it. I can't hang in there with you. Not to say he's going to quit, but I think Errol Spence is calculated, and he's going to calculate how many rounds it's going to take for me to break you down in the body, hit you in the head, and just break your will. And like I said, Terrence Crawford is not fighting in Nebraska. He's not fighting. He can't get that energy there. I know there are a number of folks that are rooting for him. I don't think he has what it takes to beat Errol Spence Jr. Your prediction?
I looked this over and over. And let me first say, I think Terrence Crawford can win this fight. Okay? I'm not saying he can't win, but I think he's going to be crafty. I don't think that changing from, orthodox to southpaw is going to be this big a deal. Because when Derrick James, the trainer of Errol Spence Jr., when they go into the lab, they watch, at least Derrick James does, he's watching the film, finding ways they can do whatever they need to do to break through all your plans. So I think Terrence Crawford is going to have to box, move away, and try to frustrate Errol Spence in order to bring Errol Spence to get desperate to come towards even faster or even more. And then he's going to try to put his will on him. But I think the issue is going to be that Errol Spence Jr. is going to come for Terrence Crawford. And I think he's going to hit him, and I think he's going to hurt him a little bit. And again, the main thing that I see is Terrence Crawford has been, people don't want to talk about this, his defense has been a little bit suspect at times. And you can get away with that against less talented fighters, where you can take a couple hits and then keep moving back because you're the superior fighter, or you get mad because his old energy is, he gets angry. And I used to do that playing basketball. You get angry and you pour all your energy and you like, I'm gonna show you. But when you're fighting a guy of this caliber, I'm not sure that's gonna be enough. And with that being said, I think Errol Spence Jr. is going to get to a point where he's gonna start putting some body shots if he can catch him, start putting some shots to the head, and start breaking down Terrence Crawford. And at that point, when Terrence Crawford gets mad, he's going to come forward because he's trying to come back to show his will, which has strong will. I'm not going to let you do this to me. And when he does that, that's when Spence is going to take him down. Spence is, if he gets hurt, it's going to be like, oh my God, I got my mom out here, I got my babies, I got all Nebraska behind me. I got to show these people I'm going to win this fight. And the way I do that is I turn my anger on like the Hulk, and I come full circle at you, and I just ram you because you can't stop me. And he believes that with all his heart. And like I said, if you see your fighters in trouble, that's when Bo Mack is going to have to come in and try to help him. And I'm not sure that's Bo Mack's forte. I'm not sure if he can help him. So with all that being said, I'm going to go out on a limb, as I do sometimes. And let me just say this, two things real quick. If it goes the distance, I don't think Terrence Crawford can get a decision. And I'm not saying because people saying it's Vegas. No. I just don't think that Terrence Crawford is going to be patient enough to go 12 and get a decision. If it goes 12, I see Errol Spence winning the decision, but I don't think he's going 12. Again, I think if Errol Spence Jr. starts to win early, because Terrence Crawford is a late starter sometimes, slow starter, and he starts building up. If you fall behind 3 rounds to Errol Spence, it's going to be a nightmare because you're trying to come back, and Errol Spence was waiting for you to come forward. So with that being said, I think Terrence Crawford's aggression, unless he changes his fight plan, is going to get him in trouble. And I think Errol Spence is going to knock him out in round 9.
Oh, okay. You heard it, folks. You heard it. I called round 10. He called round 9. We're going to come back next week, and we're going to talk about this fight. We're going to break it down. This is the Fight Game.